After we graduated from Bethany, we went to Brazil. And before we went to Brazil, we had to at least try to learn the language, Portuguese. And after that, I was also asked to start a laboratory in the hospital in Brazil because I had a chemistry degree. And so I went back to school, had to go for a year and then get certified, and then we went to Brazil. I started the lab in the hospital, and a few months later they wanted me to be the administrator of the hospital with my extensive training, meaning zero. And so that was quite an experience, actually. When we came back to the States after 5 years, we were trying to figure out what are we going to do. But we believed that the Lord wanted us to return, and we did. And that's when I became director of the Bible School and Seminary. And I taught full time and did that for the other 13 years that we were there. After that, we came back to the States. Bethany International wanted me to teach in their school. So in '93, I began to teach at Bethany and taught there until this year, the middle of this year. I think one of the highlights is that I've been able to travel probably in around 25 different countries of the world, sharing the message of the cross, which basically has to do with Romans 6, 7, and 8. And just seeing the various people and various situations and circumstances, trying to adapt to their culture in some way or another, and teaching that message, which I think certainly transformed a number of lives. And the other thing was when I had the opportunity to go overseas when I was doing my doctorate work, went to Greece and also Israel. And it was just a time of being able to not only study, but Milton came after a week, she and her sister, to be able to see Israel and tour Israel some. So that was a real blessing as well. You were teaching the missionary kids.
Yes, I was teaching the missionary
in Brazil.
Kids. We had a student who Danny, he was very difficult to teach, but I figured out how to teach him, and I had him at the blackboard all the time, and he was good with that. But if you gave him the instructions, like you would normally, it was very difficult. And so it was amazing too to me, years after I had taught him. One day I was at a place buying plants, and he walked up and he said, "Hi, teacher," and it just blessed me so much, And I was a secondary teacher, and so that's what they needed. I had no idea of how to relate to them, actually, because they're multicultural. But we made it through. Graduated with them, and it was really very special.
And we came back in '93, and then you were in member care.
Yeah, member care.
Bethany. Well, Milton retired 4 years ago, and then I retired in June. And it's been a time of transition. Milta does have some health issues, and so she is my number one priority. And so I certainly want to be the best caregiver I can be. I also am committed to 2 schools, one in Singapore and the other in Nigeria, and I think I can teach online. Eventually, planning to write a book, my second book, but I think that'll probably be next year. I just want to mention once again how grateful we are for Crosspoint's participation with us in our ministry, in our lives, the friendships that we've developed here over these decades, and also the prayer support and financial support that not only the church has given to us, but also individuals in Crosspoint who have supported us in prayer and financially as well. As far as praying for us, I think the continued clarity on our next steps, in various areas, and also that continual spiritual and physical health. Just in closing, just a couple things. One is, whatever ministry a church has, whatever ministry a missionary has overseas, the priority has to be, just like the Apostle Paul had, to know Christ. We're talking about a man who, after 30 years of ministry, his main priority was to know and understand Jesus Christ more deeply. And the idea is, of whatever situation we may find ourselves in, to learn to cooperate with the Lord. Reading in Habakkuk a few days ago, at the end of that chapter, basically, Habakkuk was saying, even though there is no more fruit on the trees, even though there are so many things that we expect that the Lord would do to bless us, but there's nothing, but yet we will trust the Lord. And that we need to get that across to people, that even though we may be experiencing things that we don't understand, yet we need to return to the idea is that we know a faithful, compassionate, loving, empathetic, and powerful God whose ways are perfect. And so because of that, we need to trust him no matter what. In Jesus' name.